Constant emotional outbursts, anger, rage, meltdowns, lack of impulse control. For many parents, you're dealing with this on a daily basis with your children. This constant struggle leads you seeking assistance from therapists, pastors, teachers, and maybe even your doctors. When I speak with parents who bring their children into my practice for emotional dysregulation, they've already exhausted the classic rewards charts, the punishments, the breathing techniques, the loving holding touch, the essential oils, the supplements. These things are only aiding in symptom-based relief. Once you start to understand the steps that lead to then the next area, which is pharmaceutical intervention, you're going to start to look at this a little bit different. Parents are bringing their children to doctors for prescription medications for conditions like ADHD, anxiety, depression. These are only masking symptoms. These doctors, they're offering a chemical-based theory on why your child is having dysregulation in their emotions. They're not looking at the root cause of this imbalance. These medications have side effects that oftentimes are more concerning than the symptoms that are brought in. To understand emotional dysregulation, you have to get to the root cause of why the body's having dysregulation in the brain and body connection. I'm going to start with a story about a practice member in my office. Now, Nora was brought in. She's an 8-year-old girl, absolutely beautiful little girl. She was brought in for having major emotional dysregulation. She would go from 0 to 100 in a second. Now, this wasn't the type of 0 to 100 that you can handle. This is the type where you're leaving a shopping cart full of groceries inside the supermarket. This type of dysregulation, mom had already gone through the classic factors. She would do rewards charts if she would do really well in her school or her environment. She's done the things with breathing techniques. I mean, during her consultation, they were doing breathing techniques before we started doing our scans. There was essential oils in mom's pocket that she would take out and apply to Nora's neck to help regulate her emotions. Now, Nora's mom had started to seek out alternative focuses. Bringing her into a neurologically focused chiropractor was the next step. Now, this is not because Nora's doctors had recommended it. Nora's doctors were about to put her on medication to start treating these symptoms, and mom was absolutely not going to do that. Now, when we look at Nora, when we got her scans in the office, her nervous system was stuck in fight and flight. Now, this neurological dysregulation causes the body to be in a protective mode. Her heart rate, her respiratory patterns, her areas of skin conductance were so elevated that, of course, Nora would not be able to regulate the performance of her body. Now, not just was it her emotions, not just was it her anger and impulsivity, but Nora's also having major challenges with paying attention at school, making friends on the playground, because who wants to be friends with a little girl who goes from 0 to 100 over a ball being thrown over the fence? Now, when we look at her body, this dysregulation was caused by a multitude of factors that happened prior to her birth. Now, we're going to get into that in a moment, but as we walked Nora through our detailed care planning process, Nora's mom understood that the nervous system was a key driving factor in her dysregulation. Now, after several months of care, Nora's mom started to notice that her body was improving. Not only was she having better control of her emotions, but she's doing better in school. She's able to control her anger and rage to a much larger degree. Mom's also noticing changes in her digestion. She's having regular digestion patterns. She's noticing an improvement from her gymnastics coach on her coordination and muscle tone. When the nervous system is stuck in fight and flight, it causes challenges in many different systems of the body. And that's what doctors are missing, is that doctors are not looking at the global cause. They're treating per symptoms with medications. And let's say you're not using these medications. Let's say that you're taking the medications and instead you're using essential oils. It's the same thing, just with a different product. When you're treating something from the outside, inside the body, you can never allow the body to regulate its performance properly. Now, the nervous system has two crucial parts. You have the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight and flight. Now, this is designed to get us out of harm's way. It's not designed to be living in 24/7, 365. The second part of the nervous system is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. The body's designed neurologically to have the nervous system working like a vehicle, gas pedal, brake pedal. You should be able to use them interchangeably and to have full control. Imagine driving a car where the gas pedal was stuck on and you wouldn't be able to tap the brake pedals to slow down. It would cause massive challenges in the safety of your driving. Now, when I look at the causative factors, in neurologically focused chiropractic, we focus on what's called the perfect storm. It's a multitude of events that start as early as stress in mom's body prenatal. This high stress environment is not just due to the environment where mom is in, but it affects the development of the child's nervous system. You have to understand that when mom is growing a baby in utero, her environmental stressors, her physical stressors, her chemical stressors will affect the development of that child. Now, we then look at the second thing, birth intervention, things like C-sections, forceps, vacuum extractions. These interventions place significant tension and distress on the upper cervical spine. Those are the segments that protect very delicate nerves, like the vagus nerve, which is directly connected to the heart, the lungs, and the digestive system. You irritate that nerve and you're going to have challenges in regulation of breathing, heart function, digestive function. And what that's going to do is cause that dysregulation to affect how your body conducts itself, which is going to affect the emotions. Now, this is not something that is caused by one thing. When we look at this, it can also be caused by an overuse of antibiotics. I mean, most of these kids who were born into high stress environments, they're oftentimes having challenges with breastfeeding, so they're using formula. They oftentimes have a colicky presentation where their neuromuscular system is all tight and tense and they're all wound up and stressed. And doctors are saying, don't worry, mom, they're going to grow out of it. This is oftentimes then affecting things like serotonin and dopamine connections. This neurological effect affects how chemicals are regulated inside the body. Now, when antibiotics are used for ear infections, strep throat, viruses, other factors in our society, and parents are running to their doctors for every sickness and illness, and every single doctor is doing antibiotics over and over again, what happens is it affects the microbiome. It affects that gut connection that oftentimes is already dysregulated from neurological damage that happened from birth trauma. So when we look at this, when you affect the nervous system, it affects how the other organ systems communicate with the body. And in our chemical-based healthcare program, everything that is given to kids, whether it's ingested through medication or nutrition, whether it's inhaled from environmental toxins or medications, whether it's injected directly into the bloodstream of our bodies, these chemicals will affect an already delicate and sensitive individual. Now, the role of chiropractic has to do with the analysis of the spine. See, chiropractic focuses on the spine for one reason. The spine is a protective mechanism designed to protect the spinal cord and house the spinal nerves that control every organ, muscle, and tissue. So for every hormone, for every chemical to be released in the body, your brain has to communicate to those organ systems through the nervous system. So when the spine has tension and damage to it from physical, chemical, or emotional stress, it will absolutely contribute to this dysregulation of emotions. Now, medications can help for crisis-based intervention. Now, this is really a great thing because medication can save you in a crisis. But medication used for long-term periods or for symptoms that can be found to be relieved in other ways, it's not getting to the root cause of the problem. And then by adding more chemicals into the body when it's already dysregulated will never make a person healthier. Putting chemicals into the body to improve one's health is absolutely not going to work. Now, neurologically focused chiropractic care is an area of chiropractic that very specifically identifies stress inside the spine, a condition we call subluxation. Now, a subluxation is a segment of the spine that irritates nerves that communicate to that body. At Maximize Chiropractic, the way that we measure your child's nervous system is through technology called the Insight scans. These scans are specifically designed to understand the autonomic activity of your child's body. We understand and measure how well the nervous system's performing, how balanced that body is in that gas pedal and brake pedal portion of the nervous system. We use detailed thermography scans to understand where inflammation subsides in the spine, and we look at emotional dysregulation through a surface EMG scan that lets us understand where tension and distress occurs. Now, if you're interested in a drug-free approach, and if you're looking to have guidance by a doctor who will get to the root cause of this imbalance, drop us a link below. Give our office a call. Do some further research on how neurologically focused chiropractic care for children can help improve the outcome of their health.